Welcome to Crimepedia. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I am your host, Morgan, and with me, as always, is my lovely co-host. It's Cherry.
Hello.
Hello, Cherry. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Good.
All right, Cherry. So how about we hop into this week's case?
Let's go.
We are going to be going back to 1997 for this one, and this is back in the United States, back in the state of Wyoming. This is the disappearance of Amy Wroe Bechtel. "24-year-old Amy Wroe Bechtel was an Olympic marathon hopeful, amateur photographer, friend, employee, daughter, sister, and wife. When Amy woke up on Thursday, July 24th, 1997, in Lander, Wyoming, she created a list of tasks that she wanted to accomplish for that day. Last on that list was to run amongst the tall trees of the Shoshone National Forest. But Amy would never return home from that run. This is a Crimepedia, and this is the disappearance of Amy Wroe Bechtel. Okay, Cherry, so Amy Wroe Bechtel was born on August 4th, 1972 in Santa Barbara, California. Her parents, Dwayne and Joanne Wroe, described Amy as a thoughtful, hyper-focused girl who fell in love with running at a young age. While she wasn't the best runner when she first began, Amy's commitment and passion for running would propel her to great success by the time she graduated from college in 1995. As a student at the University of Wyoming in Laramie, Amy would go from being a track team walk-on to becoming the captain of both the cross-country and track teams. As a junior, she could break the school record in the 3,000 meters and have the second fastest 5,000 meter in school history.
Oh my God.
Now, so impressive was this that actually her 3,000 meters is still the third fastest in school history.
No way. That's really good
history.
work. That's really good work.
Really, really good work. Now, after graduating, Amy continued to compete in both regional and national competitions and began setting her sights on competing in marathons. In 1995, Amy would run the Tucson Marathon in a time of 3 hours and 1 minute, which would qualify her to run in the 1996 Boston Marathon.
Oh, wow.
Which, if you know about anything about marathons, Boston Marathon is like one of the top marathons in the world.
Everyone wants to run that, don't they?
Everyone wants to run in the Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
Which she actually did run, and she finished that in 3 hours and 8 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So that was 130th overall.
That's
but still,
so good.
I mean,
yeah, that's so good.
That was a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, it's a massive accomplishment. I couldn't do it. No way. And not a lot of people couldn't. No. 3 hours to run that far. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Good work.
Yeah. Now, this is her time was nowhere near the winner's time, of course. I mean,
of course, yeah.
But it's nothing to scoff at.
No.
But with this success that she was starting to see in her marathon running, she started to set her sights higher. And she actually had aspirations of qualifying for the 2000 Olympic marathon trials.
Oh, wow. Good for her.
So she really wanted to at least run in the marathon trials.
Yeah.
If not qualify for the Olympics. I mean, but still, being able to run in the marathon trials is
that's a huge achievement. Yeah, that's a huge achievement.
Yep, absolutely. While Amy was a student at the University of Wyoming, she would meet Steve Bechtel, who himself was extremely athletic. They both loved the outdoors, but for Steve, he got his adrenaline kick from rock climbing.
Right.
They both graduated with degrees in exercise physiology, and the couple would end up getting married in June of 1996.
Okay.
Shortly after their marriage, they would move to the small town of Lander, Wyoming, which is on the edge of the Shoshone National Forest. Now, the rugged terrain of Lander allowed Steve to continue rock climbing, while it also proved to be an excellent training ground for Amy. When I talk about Steve being a rock climber, he wasn't just what I would call like a hobbyist. He was actually, even at this time, he was a successful, world-renowned rock climber.
Okay. So he's pretty serious at this then.
Yeah, he's extremely serious.
Yeah.
Now, when Amy and Steve woke up on the morning of Thursday, July 24th, 1997, in their home at number 7 Lucky Lane, it was supposed to be an ordinary high summer day in Lander.
Yeah.
Steve had planned to scout some Dolomite bands at Cartridge Creek with travel writer Sam Leiter, while Amy was planning on doing some errands in town after teaching class at the Wind River Fitness Center, where she worked part-time. Once her errands were complete, Amy had intended on planning a route along Loop Road in the Shoshone National Forest for a 10K mountain run, which she was organizing for September 7th. Now, after the class, Amy picked up her fitness center's recycling and contacted the phone and electric companies.
Right.
So Steve and Amy actually had just bought a new home 3 days prior. And so Amy was calling the telephone and electric companies to get their services on in the new home.
Get it all transferred over.
Yep. Now, later that afternoon, Amy stopped by the Camera Connection, where she spoke to owner John Strom about several photographs she had planned to submit in the upcoming Sinks Canyon photo contest. Strom remembers that Amy was wearing a yellow shirt, black shorts, and running shoes. So it appeared that she was prepared to go running. After speaking for a while about her photographs, Strom would send Amy to the framing shop upstairs to see about matting. There she talked with Greg Wagner, the owner of Gallery 331, about her photos. Now, he says that in the course of 20 minutes or so, she looked at her watch 2 or 3 times before leaving the store at approximately 2:30 p.m.
Okay.
Now, this would be the last confirmed sighting of Amy before she would disappear.
Oh.
At around 4:30 p.m., Steve arrived home after his day scouting climbs with Sam, and Amy was not home. But he knew that she had a busy day planned, so he wasn't terribly concerned. Earlier in that day, Steve did meet with Sam Leitner in DuBois, which is a town roughly halfway between Steve's home in Lander and Sam's home in Jackson. So about 75 to 80 miles north of Lander. From there, the two climbers, who were accompanied actually by the Bechtel's dog, Jones.
Jones, what a cool name for a dog, Jones. I love it.
Jones. Jonz, Jones.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I like that.
They rode together north into the Cartridge Creek area, the Shoshone National Forest. They did both carry guns because where they were going, they would actually use that area to dump all the quote-unquote bad bears from Yellowstone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if there was a bear that was being too aggressive,
they would dump it in another forest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, it's too bad for us. Here you go. Have this dude. You have him.
Have at it. Yeah, exactly right.
No way. That's crazy.
It is so crazy. So yeah, so they did have guns to protect themselves. But the scout actually ended up being a letdown to both of them. The rock wasn't that great for climbing and had been very difficult to get to. Okay. And they decided that it wouldn't even have been worth the effort to even attempt to climb it.
Okay.
In addition, there were thunderstorms that were lurking nearby that drove Steve and his friend Sam back to DuBois, where they ended up going their separate ways. A few hours passed and Amy had still not returned home for dinner. With that, Steve would end up speaking with his next door neighbors, Todd Skinner and Amy Whistler, who stated that they had not seen Amy since midday. Steve would end up turning down an invitation to go for pizza with some of his neighbors and instead waited at home and began making phone calls, but nobody had seen Amy.
Oh, no.
At 10 p.m., he called her parents to see if perhaps Amy had driven there on the spur of the moment. When they asked him if anything was wrong, Steve, who later said that he was starting to worry at this point, replied with what he would call a casual white lie instead of no.
Yeah, I guess so, because like you don't want to worry her parents unnecessarily. So you don't really want to, you don't want to, especially, it depends on what kind of parents they are, but I can understand then why you'd say, oh no, everything's fine, it's okay. Because you don't really want to, it's not been that long that they've not been in contact. So I can see why he would say, oh no, everything's fine, just check and see if she popped in to see you.
Yeah. That's true. I wouldn't put too much stock into it.
And it depends what kind of relationship he's got with their parents. If they're a bit elderly or, they are worrisome, he wouldn't want to unnecessarily worry them. it depends how close they are.
Exactly. Now, the neighbors, Jeff Skinner and Amy Whistler, that evening after pizza, they went to a 8:45 p.m. showing of the movie Con Air.
Oh, I love that film. That's one
Oh,
of
yeah,
my
really?
favorite films. I love it. Put the bunny back in the box. Oh, I love it. I love it. Brilliant film. Absolutely brilliant. Cameron Poe, what a film.
I think I did see that in the movie theater when it came out.
I think
I
I
think
must
I
have
did.
seen that film at least 10 times.
That's funny.
I know.
That
So
is
sad.
funny. Oh, Con Air. Yeah, so they went to go see Con Air, which Cherry absolutely loves. Now, they ended up arriving back to their home at around 11 p.m. to find that Amy still wasn't back.
Oh, no. Now you'd be worrying.
Yes, you would absolutely
Yeah.
be worrying.
Start
Now,
worrying
by this
now.
time, Steve had called the Fremont County Sheriff's Office with a strange message in which he said, "I've got a person missing here, I think, and I wondered if you had a spare around any place."
That's a bit weird.
What? Yeah.
A spare
Very
what?
weird, right?
Yeah. Like a spare
I
cop
don't
car or
know.
something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If you have a spare officer around that can
Yeah,
help.
maybe.
But isn't it it's just weird?
I guess it's also difficult because you don't know for definite that she's missing, or whether she's
Uh-huh.
got something by 11 o'clock at night. I'd be worried. It's difficult, isn't it? How different people react different ways when you've faced with a situation like that. But yeah, I've got someone like missing is a bit weird.
Now, the sheriff's office would end up sending 2 deputies to the house,
Hmm.
and they also alerted the night shift to be on the lookout. And they began to organize a search and rescue team to head out at daybreak.
Yeah, because this is like worrying times now because she's not been in contact at all, which is
At all,
obviously
yeah.
not like her. And she's dressed in just running gear. So she's,
Mhm.
that's really worrying, isn't it? It's
It is,
awful.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm. Now, Todd Skinner and Amy Whistler went to look for Amy's car. So they drove downtown into downtown Lander, and they made a right turn at the Safeway and followed what's known locally as Loop Road, which is a 30-mile road
Mhm.
that went through the Shoshone National Forest.
I didn't even think about a car.
Yes,
Oh,
so
yeah, I didn't even think
she
about
had a
that. Yeah,
car.
of course she would have
Mhm.
done because she was in town running errands, wasn't she? So I didn't
Yes,
even
she
think
was.
about that. Okay.
Yep. So they hop in their car and they decide to go out and look for her.
Hmm.
At around 1 a.m., they would end up finding Amy's unlocked white Toyota Tercel station wagon pulled off to the side of the road, roughly a half mile away from Fry Lake, which was to be the end of the 10K mountain run at a place called Burnt Gulch, which is up in the mountains about 45 minutes from town.
So would this be somewhere she would have gone for a run?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So
So,
it sounds, and from this, it sounds like she's gone, parked up to go for a
mhm.
run and hasn't come back from the run.
Yes. So where the car was found would have been close to where the end of the run should have been.
Oh, okay.
It's possible that what she did was she parked there at
Yeah.
this burnt gulch. She would have then been running downhill
Yeah.
to where the run was supposed to start, then
Mm.
ran back uphill
Uphill,
back to
then
Fry
back to her
Lake.
car. Okay.
Mhm.
Right. Okay. That
That
makes
would
sense.
that would be one way to explain why the car was there.
Yeah.
Now, the strange thing is while I say it's close to where the finish was supposed to be, we're still talking a half a mile from Fry Lake.
Yeah.
Now, Fry Lake, where the 10K mountain run was supposed to end, if I'm not mistaken, there is parking there.
Oh, okay. So then, yeah, why would you park half a mile away? You'd park where it ends.
Mhm.
Oh, but
Yeah.
maybe she parked half a mile away because it would be like closer to where she could start and run back. Maybe that's why. Who knows? This could have been just like a quick decision that she made.
Well, when I say it's half mile further away from the end. So not between,
I
like, where she
see.
would have started and where she ended.
Oh,
It was so she would have had to run past Fry Lake and then ran another half mile,
that doesn't make
which,
it.
I mean, I understand with for her, another half mile is nothing,
No, that's right. Yeah, she
right?
runs thousands, doesn't she? Yeah, thousands of kilometers and stuff.
But at the same time, a half mile is once again, nothing to her. So why would she
Mm.
park another half mile away?
I don't know. Who knows why? There may have been a reason for it at that time. Maybe there was too many people parked in the parking when she first got there. Perhaps there wasn't any
Yeah,
spaces, or you just don't know. And she thought, "Oh, well,
maybe.
I'll just park down the road a bit and I'll just run back."
Yeah,
Maybe.
possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was no sign of Amy anywhere to be found around the
Oh
car.
no.
You remember earlier I said that there were thunderstorms that were kind of
Yeah.
lingering.
Yeah.
Thunderstorms ended up coming through that evening,
Mm.
and they found puddles below the driver's door
Right.
and behind the vehicle, but they did not find any footprints and there were no tire tracks in the mud.
Right. Okay.
So if she actually parked before it had thunderstorm that afternoon, the thought became, okay, well, did she get caught up somewhere in the rain?
Yeah. Yeah.
Inside her car, they found her sunglasses. They found her car keys sitting on her driver's seat, and they found a to-do list, which was a small scratch of paper written in Amy's handwriting.
Mm.
And one by one, all the tasks that she had to do for that day were checked off the list.
Mm. Is that normal? Would she normally leave her keys? Obviously, when you're running, you don't want your keys
She
jangling around
Yeah.
in your pot. So, but then surely wouldn't you put them like under the seat or somewhere out the
So if someone
way?
Yeah. But then again, I'm sure this is, I mean, it's not a heavily traveled area, so she probably wasn't too terribly
Mm.
concerned with
Yeah.
it. Now it is weird. Yeah, I would say it's weird for them to be just sitting out in the open on the car seat.
Yeah. You'd at least like put them under the seat or in the like, the door pocket or something
Mhm.
so that, if somebody did turn up, they're not going to try and, I don't know, get in it and take it away.
Yeah,
Surely that
and you would have
invalidates
to
your insurance, leaving your keys
so
on
you
the
think,
seat.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure she wasn't worried about her insurance at
No.
that point, you know?
No.
And then too, you think about it, if anyone does drive past the car, they're not gonna be out there without a car anyways. I mean,
True.
are they
That's
really
true.
gonna
Yeah.
are they gonna be looking for cars to break into? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Probably not.
Probably
Yeah.
not.
No, that's right.
On this checklist that she had already checked off contacting the phone and electric companies to have the service turned on at her and her husband's newly purchased home.
Mm.
She had dropped off the recyclables from the gym where she worked part-time, and she checked off visiting the photo store.
Hmm.
Now, there was one thing on the checklist that was not checked off, and it was the final thing on the list, and that was run.
Oh, bless her. She even writes run on the list.
Yes, she did.
Oh, bless her.
So to me, that sounds like she never completed her run.
Well, yeah, or she was going off. Yeah, she was on the run and
Mhm.
and
'Cause
hadn't come back to check it off the list.
yeah, if she's checking things off, it almost sounds like as she finishes it,
That's
that's when
right.
she's checking things off,
Yeah.
checking it off. Then she's like, okay, now I'm going to go for my run. And
Mm.
then once I'm done with the run, I'll check that off. And I know that I've accomplished everything I wanted
On
to
the
do for the
list.
day.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, the fact that there was no body, no real sign of violence, this made Steven the go to target.
Yeah, of course, it's the husband. It does. It always goes straight to the husband.
He was, of course, extremely familiar with many of the remote mountain areas in
Mm.
Wyoming
Yeah.
around Lander, so he would know the area. But even with this, within the first few days after Amy vanished, he wasn't considered a suspect.
No. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a strange one because
Uh-huh.
there's no sign of a struggle. There's no sign of a body. There's nothing. I mean, they've just got married, or not very long ago got married. They've just purchased a new home. She's
Yeah.
been seen in and around town, and like he's called the police early on. This is not like he's left it 2 or 3 days and then phoned the police. So he doesn't sound very suspicious to me at the moment. There doesn't seem to be any reason why you would suspect him. So I can see why he wasn't initially like a major suspect because
Yeah.
it seems like she's gone off on a run somewhere.
Yeah. Now he was really helping lead the search for Amy in these
Mm.
days.
Yeah.
And th- in fact, in the early days of this investigation, foul play wasn't even considered
No, I
by
can see why.
investigators.
Yeah, I can see why it wasn't.
Yeah.
It does seem like a straightforward, there doesn't seem anything suspicious at the moment to think about.
Yeah. I mean, it could be anything.
We're
She
just
could have got
naturally
lost. She
suspicious
could have got hurt. Yeah. Oh, no, of course. Yeah.
because like we are naturally suspicious, but in something like that, you can see that there isn't really a lot to be suspicious about. It's seemingly.
Yep. With that said, this did cause issues
Mm.
later on in the investigation.
Oh, okay.
Because they didn't believe that foul play was involved, there was really no attempt
Mm.
to preserve the integrity of what would later on be presumed to be a crime scene.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, and then according to Fremont County Patrol Sergeant John Zerga, who was assigned Amy's cold case file in 2010, the problem with the early investigation was that Amy was viewed simply as a missing runner, and
Yeah,
that
of
and that
course.
it remained that way for 3 days.
Right.
Fremont County sheriffs did not close off any of the routes around the area
Okay.
to either people, pedestrians, or vehicles in the area.
Oh no.
And what happens is because of that, they just have a bunch of people searching the rugged wilderness of
Mm.
Shoshone National Forest looking for a missing runner.
Yeah.
So everything's getting trampled. Any
Of
type of
course.
evidence is getting lost.
Yeah.
In addition, any trace evidence that may have been left in Amy's car was either lost or ruined
Or
when
contaminated. Yeah.
the sheriff's department allowed Todd Skinner and Amy Whistler to drive her car back home.
No. Oh, come on. Now that's no good. That's
Oh
no
no,
good.
terrible.
No, that's bad.
Yeah. Everything in that car gets completely contaminated.
This is frustrating because we're not even talking like a 1960s or back in the old
No.
days when they didn't know about this kind of stuff. So really there's no excuse for this. She's missing. They find her car abandoned. Straight away that's a suspicious thing. Whether they think
Yep.
she's, whether you think she's gone for a run and gone missing, or whether it's always the way that it could be different. So you've got to err on the side. I mean, it's easy for me to sit and say that. I'm not a police officer, but I would be very suspicious. Like they should be, surely.
You
But I mean,
should
what's this
immediately.
area
Yeah.
like? Like, is this area like the kind of place where bad things happen, or is it just like a small town where
No. Small
they're
town.
not used to this kind of thing? They're not used to handling
Yeah.
cases like this, are they? That's the problem.
But even if you think it's just a missing runner, someone that went off trail and got themselves lost, shouldn't you at least be precautious
Yeah.
and try to protect any potential crime scenes, any potential evidence?
You think
Even if you're
so?
thinking, because you might think in your head, oh, you know what, she probably just got lost out in the wilderness. Even if you think that, I think you need to also consider other options.
We've had this
I
so
don't think
many times, though, haven't we? Where we've heard from
Yeah.
investigators that have opened a cold case that have looked back and then said, they didn't do this, they didn't do that, no one checked this, no one checked that, no one looked into this, no one did that. And you just think, what? Why? Why didn't you do it when it was there and fresh? Why not?
I understand that's easy for us to look back at this and question all of it. But I think sometimes when we're questioning this, it seems fairly basic.
I agree.
Right? Your basic policing is you have an investigation into a missing person. Even if you don't suspect foul play, you still want to preserve evidence.
Yeah, of course, because that's all you've got. At the end of the day, all you've got is what's there. And if you mishandle that, it's going to come back to bite you on the arse afterwards.
Now, the day after Amy goes missing, the search began with just Steve and about 24 of his friends.
Oh.
But by later that day, they were joined by multiple people on ATVs, dogs, dirt bikes, and they had nearly 100 volunteers on the ground.
This isn't police-led. This is husband-led.
This is not. This is husband-led.
Oh, I can understand why you'd want to, but come on. This is like, this is textbook rookie stuff.
Yeah.
And when this is the thing that frustrates me is this is not like really old. We're not talking about back in the days in the 60s where they'd be smoking cigarettes at crime scenes and things like that. We're talking about not actually that long ago. 1997 wasn't that long ago.
And think of that, 100 people on the ground.
Yeah. All that evidence being trampled over.
Yeah. Anything that was there, just gone.
Because you've had no one telling them what to look for, how to search, Nothing. That's just
No.
crazy.
They're on the ground, they're probably just yelling for Amy and
Yeah. Thinking that they're doing
searching the
good
area.
when they
Yeah,
could potentially be doing bad.
I know. It's tough. And I do think that initially they were doing what they thought was
Of
best.
course they were.
And
Yeah, of course,
you
no.
can't criticize them for that,
And you
right?
can't stop a family. You can't tell a family, "No, you can't go and look for her." No, you
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
you'd be like, "Well, I'm gonna go."
Mhm. Now the following day, they end up getting joined by horses and helicopters.
Wow, okay.
And then by the 3rd day of the search, the area had been expanded to a 30-mile radius.
So how big is this national forest?
Huge.
Okay.
Huge.
Right, okay.
Huge.
So we're talking a
Uh,
massive scene.
yes,
Potentially.
absolutely. It's a
Yeah.
huge area, very rugged. Where there's nothing around. I mean,
Oh, okay. This is a hard
it's
scene to be
out
looking
there.
at that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have rugged terrain, you have tall trees. It's it's mountainous.
Mm,
It's not a place that you wanna get lost
no. I'm
at
surprised
all.
that you'd go running on your own in a place like that as well. It's a strange thing for somebody like that to go running on their own in an area like that
Yeah,
where it is like that. Because if you were to fall and break something, how would you get help?
exactly, yeah.
Mm,
Now for her, I think she was very familiar with the area,
mm,
and she wasn't it wasn't off-road, so it was
mm,
up the loop road, and like I said, while was a dirt road, I mean, it's fairly open.
mm.
So it's not like she is running out in the middle of the woods where no cars are gonna go by.
Yeah.
So if something were to happen and she got hurt, fell, hurt her ankle, broke her ankle, whatever, you would expect at some point someone would drive by and see you.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So it's not like she was secluded. She was out in the open.
Mm.
Now it's not a very busy area, but still, I mean, it's the area that people go to and people are familiar with.
Right. Okay. But there's the potential for her to be lost somewhere that's covered in woods and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Now, it would end up taking Fremont County sheriffs a full week after Amy's car was found for the area around it to be declared a crime scene.
Eesh. That's a long
So
time,
it's
isn't it?
7 days
That's a
of people
long
searching
time.
and looking before they
Yeah.
even said, "Oh, this is a crime
This is
scene.
a crime
We need to
scene.
treat it as such." Yeah.
It's too late by then. I've actually got some pictures. I've just got some pictures up on my screen to see what it looks like, and I can see what you mean. It is a huge expanse, but you can see where you would be running, where you could run. So people
Mhm.
would be, although it's quite open. Although there is trees, it is quite an open area. So yeah, I can see what you mean.
W Where she started running, there's a lot of switchbacks.
Mm,
So where the roads are, kinda curving back and forth. But on the right, there's, like, a there's drop-offs
yeah,
easily
yeah.
that you could easily
So you
fall
could
off
fall.
of.
Yeah, you could fall.
Mhm.
It is quite mountainous. There's quite rocky and hilly from the pictures I can see, and there's loads of like water streams and all sorts going through it. So
Yeah. It's a beautiful area.
it's stunning,
Absolutely beautiful.
absolutely stunning. But
Yeah.
there are
It's
places you could get
dangerous.
hurt. Yeah, it's
It
not
is
the safest
dangerous.
of places to be running on your
Mhm.
own.
Yep. Absolutely. Now in the months after Amy's disappearance, Steve would continue to spearhead what would end up becoming one of the most exhaustive recovery efforts ever waged on behalf of a missing person.
Oh wow, okay.
So, what was known as the Amy Wroe Bechtel Recovery Headquarters, they ended up plastering her picture all over the internet. They mailed more than 200,000 posters around the country, which included interstate truck stops and forest trailheads throughout
Mm,
the Rockies.
right, okay.
So there was a huge effort in trying
Yeah,
to
trying to
locate
find
her
her.
that was
Yeah.
going on. So with that, we kind of need to ask what happened to Amy.
Mm,
Okay. And I think there's really three main theories in this
right.
case.
Okay.
The first one is that Mother Nature got to her, right?
Yeah.
Something happened.
Yeah.
It's possible that Amy fell during her run.
An accident. Yeah.
It's possible that she may have been attacked by wild animals while out there in the wilderness.
Yeah.
But the problem with this is that there's no evidence of any torn clothing, any blood, any body parts,
A bear
and
attack
no
you would
bone.
have, wouldn't you? Because the
Yeah.
bears don't eat absolutely everything. Do they? Am I right in thinking they don't eat heads? I think in
I'm
bear attacks, I don't
I
think.
don't know that. I don't
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
There would
I
be
doubt it because if you think about it, there's no meat on a face. So
exactly,
yeah,
and I
they're not
think
gonna bother.
there are bits that in a bear attack. I remember a case where that was a suspected bear attack, and there would be a blood trail or there would be an attack site.
Something.
The bears don't clean up after themselves; they're not forensically aware,
No.
so
Nope.
there would be some sort of trace if it was an
There'd be a
animal
trace.
attack. Yeah,
Either clothing, blood,
of course,
like I said, body parts,
something.
bones.
Yeah,
None of that was ever found.
right. Okay.
Now, in addition to that, animal attacks on humans are actually extremely rare.
Rare, yeah,
to occur.
very.
So it doesn't happen.
Not unless
As
the person's
much as
incapacitated.
Yeah, exactly. So because there's no evidence that there was any type of animal attack or that she got hurt, because if she fell and got hurt, she would be close to the roadside,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say Mother Nature, something happening with Mother Nature. I'm gonna say no. I don't think
Okay.
it's that.
Right. Okay.
I don't think she just got hurt. I don't think she got attacked by a wild animal.
Right.
I don't think she got lost. I don't think she got lost and succumbed to the elements.
Right. Okay.
Because I think she knows the area.
Yeah.
Like I said, she's running on a road.
Yeah.
There's one road in, one road out. She's not getting lost on the road.
No, she's not going to get lost, is she? She knows the area, so getting lost is not really an issue. It's hard to,
Unless,
yeah,
unless she decided to
deviate
change her
off of the
plans.
track. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Because her plan was to plan the route, and the route was up Loop Road until she got to Fry Lake. Maybe she decided, well, let me try this other route that maybe I don't know. But I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
It's because we know that she has a checklist, right? So she's very organized. She's very prepared. So she knew what she was going to do.
Yeah.
And I don't think she doesn't seem like she's a person that would deviate from her plans.
Right. Okay. Okay. So that's theory one.
This one. Theory two is that she was murdered by her husband, Steve.
Oh, that's a far. Okay, what evidence is there of this?
All right. So let's talk about Steve and why he did become a suspect. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, when it did become a crime, or they believe foul play was involved, police began a search of the couple's property.
Yep. Okay.
Where they ended up discovering Steve Bechtel's journals, which contained poetry or song lyrics, sometimes with violent overtones.
Okay.
Describing violence towards women, and specifically Amy.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct. Now, a week and a half after Amy vanished, Steve did hire lawyers and refused to take a polygraph test, which further raised suspicions for police as well as many residents of Lander and the media.
Well, of course. Did he also write in his journals the "what if I had done it like OJ did"?
Yeah, right. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Now, detectives did interrogate Steve on August 1st, 1997, falsely claiming to have evidence proving he had murdered his wife.
Clever.
Is it clever or is it stupid? I don't know. I hate that, right? When you blatantly lie.
Well, the thing is, I think the police should. If he's got nothing to hide,
you think?
Yeah, because if he's got nothing to hide, it's not going to matter. If they
just call them when they're bullshit.
Well, yeah, because if you know damn well you didn't kill her, you can say, okay, so what evidence? What have you got? Because I know damn well you've got nothing. So
yeah,
lie all you want, police, because there's nothing. You're going to find nothing, and I'm not going to confess to anything because I didn't do it. So, and also for the police, I think, use every dirty tactic you can to find whoever hurt her if someone did hurt her.
Yeah.
Go for it.
It's true, I guess. All right.
underhand
enough.
tactics. We'll give you the go-ahead on that, police force. The Crime Pedia seal of approval.
There you go. Now, a woman who was driving through the area from where Amy went missing claimed to have seen a truck matching Steve Bechtel's in the area with a blonde-haired woman in the passenger seat, but she was unable to positively identify it was him.
Well, that's not really much help, is it?
It's not, no.
And I'm not being
really.
funny, but generally women and trucks. I mean, if I walk down the street and you said to me, like, what cars did you see? I'd be like, a red one, a blue one. Okay,
Yeah,
if it's a car that I know that's really, I know it's a Ford, whatever, then you'll say it. But generally, I don't know if that's very. I don't know if that's very good.
I think his car would probably stand out a little bit more than your typical truck. I believe it was a Toyota truck, and I believe it had like I don't know what they're called. Not a tonneau cover, but like a hard shell cover over the back.
Okay, yeah, I know what you mean.
What I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I think that's
So it's a bit distinctive.
It's a little, more distinctive. Now, my problem with this is she said, "Oh, I saw a blonde-haired woman in the passenger seat." If you're going to go kill your wife, why would you have a passenger with you? A blonde-haired woman with you?
Yeah. Was Amy blonde? What does she look like?
She was like strawberry blonde.
Oh,
Maybe.
okay. Yeah, okay. Maybe he's having an affair.
Yeah, but if you're having an affair, would you be like, "Hey, let's have an affair. Let's go find my wife and kill her"?
No, you wouldn't, would you? That's the thing. You wouldn't do that.
No,
No.
unless you're a psychopath. But I don't think he is.
No. Or you drove
I don't
out and you
know.
were like with the woman and your wife just happens to pull by in her car. And then it's like, hey, what the hell are you doing? But no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think that just sounds a little bit
No.
that sounds a bit far-fetched to me. So she can't be 100% sure it was him anyway. So it's not really a very valuable sighting, is it? Not really.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Now, on August 5th, a FBI agent by the name of Rick McCullough directly accused Steve of murdering Amy. But once again, we got to remember, Steve did have an alibi.
Yeah, yeah.
So he was with Sam Leitner scouting the climbing spot that she had vanished in the mountains above Du Bois. But besides that, questions still remained whether Steve had an opportunity during the day to get to Shoshone and carry out the crime.
That was what I was going to ask you. Is there a chance that he could have got there? Yeah. Could he have got to Shoshone and done that, left her truck there? But then how would he get back? If he left her truck there, he would have had to have followed her out.
He would have had to follow her out. Exactly. In his
truck and then drive his truck back.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem very logical to me.
It doesn't. No.
It sounds like a clutching at straws kind of thing.
I mean, if we can imagine, let's see. Last time anyone saw Amy, she was leaving.
She was at the camera shop. The upstairs camera shop. Yeah.
Yes, gallery 331, and she left at 2:30. Let's say it takes half hour to get to where she's going to run.
Yeah.
So we're talking 3. Now Steve claims he was home at 4:30. The question would be, would that match up
give him enough time
with the time he would have left Du Bois?
I don't know. I don't think that sounds all that. There's not a massive weight on this. That I don't think so. So far, you're not convincing me on the husband being the murderer, or having anything to do with her disappearance.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, it's a stretch. I think it's a stretch.
As a member of the jury, you couldn't sit there and say without reasonable doubt that he did it. So at the moment, it's not. I can't call it that it's him.
Yeah.
Also, the problem with this also means that the friend that was with him has to also be in on this. Because
exactly.
Which doesn't make any sense. This means this is based on the fact that he had time to get there after leaving the friend. Well, the friend has obviously said when they left each other, they went back to Du Bois, and when they went their separate ways, would that give him a chance to get all the way back there, kill Amy, then get all the way back again before he was home? I just don't think. It just sounds a little bit too.
Yeah, you're right.
It's too much.
Then the second question is, how long would a run take?
Exactly.
10K
And
run.
where is he going to know where she is on that without actually following her from the
Mhm.
start? He's going to have to go around and find her as well, unless he
Yeah.
got her straight out of the car. In which case, he would have had to have followed her from the picture gallery to the place she was going running, and then apprehend her straight from the car. Because once she started running, who knows which part where she was on the trail that he would find her. He's going to have to run after her. So no, it doesn't make much sense to me.
I don't know. I think it's possible.
Okay, so
I think it's
we
possible.
can't rule it out.
Because, okay, I can't rule it out because, look, if he actually did arrive home at 4:30,
Mm,
let's say that where her car was parked is where she started, so she would have run downhill then back uphill.
mm,
At a minimum, I would say it would take 2 hours to run.
mm-hmm.
But this is a significant uphill too, so it's probably longer than 2 hours. So if she parks at 3:00, that wouldn't put the end of her run until
Like nearly
earliest
6.
5.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, 5, between 5 and 6.
Between 5 and 6. So I don't know. What's theory 3?
Well, we're not done with theory 1.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, there's nothing else too exciting.
Right.
Just some follow-up stuff, all right? So, with all of this, Amy's brother, Niels, was convinced it was Steve, and he was
Oh.
especially angry at Steve's reluctance to take a polygraph test and
Mm.
to cooperate fully with the investigation.
Would you take one?
If I had a lawyer, the lawyer would say, "No, don't take it because as
I wouldn't
polygraph,
take it.
it
It's admissible in
doesn't do
court.
anything for
No,
you."
there's no
Yeah.
point. And and also it goes on the stresses of your voice. So if you are really stressed out, chances are it's going to come back that you're being deceptive anyway, even if you're not. So I just don't see the point in polygraph tests. So
Yeah.
I would say no.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
true.
don't blame him for not taking it. I don't see that as an admission of any sort of
Oh,
wrongdoing.
no, it doesn't. No,
So
absolutely.
I don't.
Because if you think about it, nothing good can come
No.
out of you taking a polygraph.
If you take it and you pass it, they go, "Oh, right, he passed." But if you take it and you fail it, they're like, "Oh, he did it." Definitely.
Yeah, true.
I don't.
Absolutely.
I don't blame him for not taking it. I don't blame him. So, but I can see why the brother would be pissed.
Yeah. Now, Niels also did tell the sheriff about one night when Amy and Steve were over for dinner. He stated that he had noticed that Amy was bruised,
Oh,
in which Amy ended up making a joke about, saying that Steve can get a little rough with her sometimes. Now, Niels, of course, found Amy's reaction odd, saying that Amy just laughed it off and that she would not look him in the eye.
maybe it was like during a bit of passion or something. Though
Maybe.
it could have
Yeah,
been like
absolutely.
it could have been like a bit of roughage like that, and like she's a bit
Yeah.
embarrassed to say, so she laughs it off and doesn't look at him because she knows damn well it was done while they were doing bumpies.
Yeah. No, you could absolutely be right. You could absolutely be right.
You can't exactly say, can you?
I know, but I can understand why
Mm,
as a brother,
of
you're
course.
protective of your sister.
Yeah, of course.
But once again, I don't think that really points to anything other than,
No.
you know, nothing. I don't
No.
see anything serious in it.
Nothing sinister so far. I mean, yeah. The thing is your sister's missing, so you're going to read bad stuff into things, and you're going to start thinking of situations where things could be different way. So I can see why he's thinking like that.
Yeah. Now, Steve would remain the prime person of interest in
Mm.
Amy's disappearance for many years.
Oh.
And in July 2007, on the 10th year anniversary of her disappearance, Detective Roger Reiser commented on the cold case to the Billings Gazette, stating that in his mind that there was only one person that he wanted to talk to, only one person who refused to talk to him, and that was her husband, Steve.
Right. Okay.
So, of course, Steve was not talking. He has
No.
nothing to say.
Mm.
Okay, sure.
Doesn't
I
make
don't
him
think there's anything.
guilty.
No, it doesn't. There's nothing so far that really indicates he had anything to do with it. You can't take
No.
writing poetry in songs that he's written, and these were
yeah,
actually
it's a bit
like
weird, isn't
they were
it?
old. It is weird.
Yeah.
It is weird, but a lot of these were old writings too. So it was stuff
Mm.
that was done years before.
Yeah.
So
So, yeah, okay, it's suspicious and it's a bit weird, but it doesn't make you a murderer.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
No.
So that was theory number 2,
Okay.
and we have our last theory
Yeah.
is that she was murdered by Dale Wayne Eaton, who is known as the Great Basin serial killer.
Oh, okay. So we got a serial killer. What's a serial killer going to be doing out in the woods, out in like the national forest, though?
We will get to that.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay.
Now, a tip came in from a man named Richard Eaton, who told the sheriff that his brother, Dale, may have been involved in the murders. But initially, the investigators ignored the information as they were focused on Steve at the time.
Yeah, of course.
Now, by not pursuing this lead, they may have allowed the notorious Great Basin serial killer
Yeah.
to get away, as on July 30th, 1998, nearly, or actually really just over a year after Amy's disappearance, Dale Eaton was finally arrested for another murder
Oh, okay.
in a area called Patrick Draw, which is less than a 3-hour drive from Lander. Shannon Breeden, her husband Scott, and their 3-month-old baby Cody were traveling when their van broke down at a pullout along Interstate 80. Eaton had stopped off in his off-green 1985 Dodge van and offered them assistance and asked Shannon to drive.
Ah.
Eaton would then pull a rifle from the back of the van, kidnap the family at gunpoint, and directed them south of the highway into the desert. Now, Shannon accelerated and turned in a tight circle instead, which enabled Scott to jump out of the van with the baby and Shannon to get out the other side. Scott would end up grabbing Eaton and hit him over the head with the rifle butt. And after a struggle, Eaton was stabbed with his own rifle and left while the family drove away at speed.
Oh my God. That poor family.
Absolutely
That must have been
crazy.
horrendous.
Now, Richard Eaton, Dale's brother,
Brother, yeah.
knew that Dale had been camping in the Burnt Gulch area at the time of Amy Bechtel's disappearance,
Oh my
which
God.
and he knew that it was at an elevation of 7,860 feet, which is exactly where she was marking her 10K running route. And this was also a favorite elk hunting and trout fishing spot for the Eaton brothers.
Oh.
But after Richard called police with his suspicions, detectives dismissed the tip, choosing to believe instead the word of Dale Eaton's niece, who said that he was visiting her in Greenlee, Colorado on the 24th. And because there was a $100,000 reward out for information leading to a resolution of Amy's case, this meant that the investigators were suspicious of Richard's motives.
Oh, come on.
Why would you put out a reward if you're not going to take people's word?
Well, exactly. And also, why would you shop your brother if he didn't do it? If they're going to prove that he did it. So obviously
Mhm.
if he didn't and they couldn't prove that he did, you're not going to get the money anyway. So why would you just do that? Why don't they check? This makes me so mad. Why don't they just follow up these things?
I know. It's absolutely insane.
Surely it's better to waste a bit of time and to cross someone off of a list than it is to ignore it and then be possibly losing a suspect down the line. I mean, that's just crazy. I know resources are always tight, but come on, you can't just ignore certain things and go with other things just because it fits better. It's so
Yeah.
frustrating.
Exactly. Now, this is going to piss you off, okay?
Oh, God.
A plea bargain deal for the attempted kidnapping of the Breeden family meant that Dale Eaton would only serve just 99 days in jail.
19, that's all he got. Oh, that's
That is all
disgusting.
he got. Now, while he was incarcerated, they did take a sample of his DNA.
Good. Whack
All
it
right.
in CODIS.
But he was allowed to continue work on welding in construction jobs while in a halfway house due to prison overcrowding.
Oh, no. Why don't they let people out that aren't, dangerous or suspected of being dangerous? Why don't they just let like the petty thieves out? Keep all the bad ones in.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
He
no.
he tried to kidnap people
Exactly.
and it was
With a
with a
rifle.
rifle. That is
A
violent.
baby.
He's a violent criminal.
Yeah, he should be staying in. No halfway housing for him.
And before we get to what else he has done and does,
Oh God, there's more.
he's already a violent criminal, and you're putting him into a halfway house and saying, "Okay, you can stay out there because prison's overcrowded."
This is crazy. What on earth?
Mhm.
I hope Wyoming's got better since this.
I know, right?
Jeez.
Now, on June 16th, 1998, he failed to report to work despite strict parole conditions,
Of course he did.
and a warrant was put out for his arrest.
Oh my God. Not like we couldn't guess that was going to happen.
I know, right? Now, police finally spotted his van more than a month later near Dubois in the Bridger-Teton National Forest.
He likes his forest, this dude.
He does like his forest. He was arrested and a shotgun was found in his van, leading to his imprisonment on federal weapons charges.
Oh my God. This is crazy.
I know.
Can't they do
So-
they ban you over there for like if you have stuff like this? Do they not
Mhm.
ban you from having firearms for like the
Yeah.
rest of your life? Okay, so he's just
Yeah.
not giving a shit. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. Okay.
To some of our listeners, you might know the name Dale Wayne Eaton from another case called Little Miss. Okay.
Right.
On March 25th, 1988, 18-year-old Lisa Marie Kimmel was driving alone to Denver to visit a friend in Billings, Montana.
No way, this was
In
him.
her black 1988 Honda CRX SI,
Yes.
which had a Montana plate with Little Miss on it.
I remember this case. Oh my God.
She was planning on visiting her boyfriend in Cody, but never got there.
I remember she didn't get there. That's right. Oh my God.
Did not. 8 days later, 2 fishermen found her body in the North Platte River near Casper. Autopsy's results showed that she had been raped, bludgeoned, and stabbed. Her family buried her, and then afterwards, a strange note signed Stringfellow Hawk was found on Lisa's grave. In July 2002, investigators researching cold cases examined the seminal DNA from Lisa's rape and found a match for Dale Wayne Eaton.
Oh my God.
Eaton was due to stand trial that fall on manslaughter charge after killing his cellmate with a lethal punch to the man's vertebral
God.
artery.
This guy is just nasty.
Mm-hmm. A handwriting analysis from the note left on Kimmel's grave also matched Eaton.
Yeah, of course it did.
Then, following a tip from neighbors who remembered seeing Eaton digging in his yard, Lisa's car was found buried on his property in Moneta, just an hour and 45-minute drive east from Lander. He had been using the car as a septic tank. A portion of the Montana plate, Little Miss, was found nearby. Inside the trailer, authorities also found women's clothing, purses, and newspaper reports about other murdered women. Now, investigators determined that Eaton had kidnapped Lisa at a remote rest area in Waltman and then held her captive in a converted school bus and repeatedly raped her before murdering her.
Yeah.
An FBI profiler who examined the case said Eaton's behavior all fitted that of a serial killer.
Yeah, definitely. This is not just the once, is it?
No, it's not.
No, definitely
not.
Definitely not.
So in a subsequent trial, Eaton was found guilty on first-degree murder and sentenced to death by lethal injection in March 2004. Now, he did have a stay of execution in December 2009, with his lawyers arguing that he was mentally unfit to stand trial. Now, in November 2014, a U.S. district judge overturned his death sentence, but he continues to serve a life sentence plus 50 years.
Oh,
That's still
okay. Well,
so the question goes, you asked this when we started.
Yeah.
What would we be doing out in the middle
Now we know,
of the wilderness?
Yeah.
That's where he was comfortable with.
So
That's
he's
where he
used
could
to
go.
being out there. He's got previous for this kind of thing. So I think it's more plausible that he would be a suspect than the husband. And I'm normally like the husband straight away. You normally have to convince me off the husband. But in this case, before I even knew about him, before you even mentioned him, I didn't think that there was enough to suspect the husband. I don't think
Yeah.
there's. I mean, okay, yeah, he wrote some stuff in a journal, but like you say, it was years before. Yes, okay, she had bruises, but that's not. It's not consistent bruising. It's not like she's withdrawn from herself or he's stopping her seeing her family. And it's that classic kind of like, domestic violence kind of signatures. It doesn't sound like that's the kind of thing going on. And to me, listening to that, everything you've just said, I think you're more likely to find that it had something to do with him. I thought straight away, oh no, what's he going to be doing in the forest? But I mean, then you listen to that and that he kidnapped that other lady, took her off into the forest, held her captive, raped her.
Hmm.
He's kidnapped her family. He's obviously not right in the head. So
Yep.
I would be more inclined to say I would look more into that than the husband.
Yeah, I agree.
And it makes
I
sense.
agree.
She's running on a trail or on a track, and he is used to that kind of like environment. So he's not going to be put off by
Hmm.
that kind of thing. It makes more
Yeah.
sense than the husband chasing after her.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I think about this, I see that this would be a situation in which Amy would be surprised by her
Exactly. Not
abductor.
expecting it. That's right.
Exactly. Because if you think about it, if both parties were on foot,
Mm.
Amy could run
Of
them.
course. Yeah. But if he was feigning injury or hurt and she stopped to help him,
Mhm.
maybe he could overpower her and
Yep.
that way, because obviously he's done that kind of deception before. It's been proven he's
Yeah.
deceived that lady and has ended up killing her, dragging her off, taking her car. So it's not unthinkable that he could do that.
Yeah.
And he's in the area, he knows the area because he said like he was in Lander, so it's not like it's a completely unknown territory to him.
Yeah. True. And then you gotta ask, okay, well then where's her body? Well, it's a rugged area. There's probably a
Be
million
anywhere.
places to
Yeah,
hide a
exactly.
body.
Yeah.
Y- it-
And he's
yeah,
used to like
it's
elk hunting. They're bloody heavy. So I think, hunting and lugging a woman around is probably not going to be too much of a trouble for him. So I would be more inclined to look more into that. I think I'd be looking more into that. And this is going to sound awful, but I'm really glad that they didn't execute him because then you would never know. At least now you've got the chance to question him
you do
or
have a chance.
you know, like
Well,
getting his fluids and sampling that kind of stuff. So there is a potential for further
there
investigation
is,
should it arise.
but with that said, I will tell you that 10 years ago,
Mm,
lead detective Sergeant John Zerga did travel with the FBI
right.
to Colorado to try to interview Dale Wayne Eaton,
Yeah.
but he refused to speak with them. And now, with the threat of the death penalty no longer hanging over him,
Yeah. He's got no reason
investigators
to.
have investigators have very little leverage to get
That's
him to
right.
talk.
They've got nothing to make him talk, have they? Because they can't make his life any better.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. There's only so much privileges they
Yeah.
can give
No,
him. They can't really give him so much more that will make his life better. So what's his reason to talk? He's got no reason.
no, exactly. Now, this is a case where periodically cadaver dogs will still be brought in
Mm,
from all over
mm.
to search. Some of the dogs that they bring in are so good that they will run straight over wildlife carcasses because they know they're supposed to be looking for human carcasses
Humans.
and they
They're
know the difference.
amazing. Yeah, they're amazing, aren't they?
Yeah. And then with that, they were just within the past few years, this happened where these dogs began following a scent down Burnt Gulch,
Mm.
and they ended up stopping at a depression, which looked like it could be a burial site. But unfortunately, they sifted through every ounce of dirt in this hole, and they were only able to find a single bread tie.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's interesting, isn't it? But the thing is it's such a massive area,
It is.
and he could have taken her by vehicle. somewhere else. So
Yeah,
she might not even be
exactly.
there. If he had a
Mhm.
vehicle there, he could have put her into a vehicle and taken her somewhere completely different. Hence, no dogs are going to pick up any
Absolutely.
scent. They're not going
Absolutely.
to find anything. So they're looking there
Mhm.
and she might not even still be there. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
that's,
Because you gotta think about too, with the number of people who were searching for her
yeah,
within the first 3 days,
that's what,
even the first week,
yeah.
the chances, I mean, I know it's a huge space, but you would at least come across some sign of human activity.
She's only going to have gone so far in the time she was running, isn't she? Realistically.
Yeah.
So unless
Mhm.
she was apprehended and taken off and out the way, there's only going to be a certain radius that she's going to be able to be in on foot.
I think that's what happened, because you think he did that with in the other cases
Exactly.
where he's driving away from where they're abducted, taking them to another location.
Exactly. Yeah. Which makes me think that why would this be any different?
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
answers why they haven't found anything in that area.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh my
I'd be
God.
interested to see what information, what newspapers clippings, what clothing did they find? Is
Yeah.
there anything that could be linked
Yeah.
back to Amy?
That's right. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see that.
Mhm.
Crazy. Crazy.
Very, very crazy. Yep. So still unsolved to this day, and
Hopefully not forever. The thing is with a personality like that, and like you say, there's not a lot of leverage that the police have got. There's not much chance that he would confess for any reason because he likes having that hold over the situation. They like knowing information
yeah,
that they're not giving to anybody else. It's a trump card, isn't it?
yeah.
It's frustrating.
How crazy is that?
Mm,
Thinking that if police would have just looked into this call that his
yeah.
brother made, just
And just
took a
think,
little bit of time.
why would a brother do that? Why? Just look at just follow it up. Just what have you got to
Yeah,
lose? Just follow it up. It's
yeah.
crazy. You just want to bash their heads together,
Yeah,
don't you?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they would have been able to solve it. I mean, but there's probably a better chance of them solving it if they would have just followed up on it.
But at least they know they followed it up. At least they can sit there and
Mhm.
say, "Well, no, we did that. We done the best we could. We've looked that up."
Yeah,
But the fact that they didn't, they just ignored it because they had Steve in their sights anyway. It's
yeah.
just you can't do that.
And there's nothing that
There's nothing to say
there's
that Steve
nothing.
did this
No, no,
other than the
there's
normal,
nothing.
typical "it's the husband" kind of thing. Which okay,
It's the
yeah, I
husband.
get
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
You always go for the husband first, but then don't ignore everything else just in
Yeah.
case.
Sh- and you know what? Sure, Steve did some weird things, right?
Mm,
Having weird answers and maybe,
yeah,
you know, saying you've done more than you really, really have, that
no,
doesn't make you
no.
a murderer.
No, it doesn't. And also, I think the thing is it's easier for me to say, "Oh, they should have followed this up. They should have followed that up." When they think that they're onto something,
Mhm.
and they think that that's going to, they're going with what they think best. The police have got no, they've got no ulterior motive. They're trying to get this solved. They want to solve it. It's good for them. It's good for the
Mhm.
family. It's good for the look of the station. It's good for them. But I just think, God, that just one thing you missed.
But isn't looking into Dale Wayne Eden also a good look for you too?
Exactly. Yeah,
How is that
exactly.
not a good look for you?
You've got to do it, haven't you? You've got to follow everything. I don't
Yeah.
know why they didn't. It's crazy. Ugh, God.
So frustrating.
It's really frustrating. And the fact that obviously now it's a cold case, you've only got what's already been collected. Like with the Breckenridge talking to Charlie McCormick, you've only got what's
Mhm.
already been collected. So if
And with
it's
this,
not been,
if
there's nothing.
there's nothing. There's even less in this one
That's right.
because any type of evidence that they could have had is
Is
gone.
gone. So really, from the mistakes made at the very beginning, it's pretty much ballsed up the rest of the case and any
Yeah.
hopes of finding stuff because new evidence doesn't come to light very easily or very often. So working with
Mhm.
a shoddy load of stuff in the first place makes it really
Yeah.
difficult.
I
God.
mean, with what we talked about, this is what I think happened. I think Amy was stopped by Dale Wayne Eaton somewhere on Loop Road.
Mm,
He would have been in his van, pulled a gun on her,
yeah.
told her to get in the vehicle.
Yeah.
He drove
Away.
away,
Yeah.
drove
Away.
away, took her to a place where he knew that he could keep her, he could rape her, abuse her multiple times over numerous days. And then when he was done, he killed her and disposed of her body.
To me, it sounds like looking at his past, looking at what he's done before, putting all those things together, it's the most likely scenario, I feel, looking at all of this laid out. It's the most likely scenario that she was stopped by someone on the trail and taken away from there, which isn't a far stretch of the imagination. It's not like we're just, it's not something that you can't imagine happening. It's something that could quite possibly happen.
Yeah.
More likely, I think, than her husband doing something to her.
No.
Unfortunately. Oh, what a sad case. Again.
Very, very sad case.
Frustrating. I think more frustrating than anything on behalf of the family and just listening to this. So frustrating.
I feel bad, like, even having to talk about Stephen as a suspect, but you have to, right?
Of course. He's the husband. So it's straight away where I would have gone. You always go to the nearest and dearest first. Yeah. So I get it. I get that. But then there's nothing really to me that's he's not giving me any cause for any kind of concern like that. So no.
I mean, could you imagine? I mean, what he's had to go through, not only losing a wife,
always being under suspicion,
but always being under suspicion. Just it almost feel like never being able to like breathe, right?
But it's exactly the same in the Breckenridge case. Bobby Joe's husband.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
exactly
absolutely.
the same. I mean, he's been under suspicion even to this day. Now someone's been arrested on suspicion of her murder. He can now like breathe a sigh of relief, and people start to go, well, actually, maybe it wasn't the husband.
All these crimes that we talk about, all these cases, they affect so many people in so many different ways. And this is just another one.
And as well as the victims, it is also the people that are left behind, like suffering on from that thing that's happened. And that's what you've got, like, I think people have got to remember is that this is somebody's whole life, that's just been turned completely upside down and probably forevermore,
All right, Cherry. So let's end this episode on another note. Do you have a dumb criminal for this week?
I do. This week's dumb criminal, you are going to love this.
So how about we get to Captain? Hey, Captain. Come on out.
Hey, dum-dum head. You's a real jackass.
It's a jackass. So this one is a proper jackass. It really is. Now, this guy, a guy called James Allen, and he was holding up a newsagent in a place called Abingdon in Oxfordshire in 2012. Now, the whole thing is captured on CCTV. It's hilarious. He attempted to hold up this newsagent's. At the time, he removed his balaclava, fell over a drinks display, and then couldn't get out of the shop because instead of pushing the door, he was pulling it. So he's trying to get out.
No.
But the lady that he just held up actually had to go to the door to let him out. But get this, he held her up with a toy gun as well.
Oh no.
So not only does he take his balaclava off and fall over a drinks cabinet, he can't get out of the shop. He's held her up with a toy gun. She walks past him, opens the door to let him out. Now, not only this, he had also tried to rob the same shop 10 days earlier. So this is the second attempt. So this is the second. Now, he was a homeless guy. He was 29 at the time, and he was obviously apprehended because he was a bit stupid, and he was sentenced to 3 years in prison. He was also sentenced to 2 years for possession of a firearm or an imitation firearm. So he got done for possession of an imitation firearm, which is a toy gun. He actually got done for having a toy gun. What an absolute idiot. Bless him.
That is crazy.
I know. So yeah, that is this week's dumb criminal. That they've actually got CCTV. You can watch the whole thing. It's so funny.
We got to put that up on our
we
Insta
should.
Something.
I'll send it to you because you might be able to work a way to like get it out. And it's just honestly, I read it and I was like,
so funny.
What? And then when I read after, he had also done this 10 days earlier. It's like, surely
That is
after the first time,
ridiculous.
you would have done it right the second time, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. That's very good.
It was
Thank
good. It's nice to end the show on a bit of a high note.
you. Yeah, absolutely.
It is. So, yes, thank you for joining us this week. We'll be back next week with another episode for you. And so for now, just let us know about the case. What do you think happened to Amy? You can reach us on our social media. We're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Instagram, probably, if you want to get an answer out of us quickest, because that's probably the platform that we're both most on, to be honest.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
and if you want to support the show, you can give us a 5-star rating, because obviously less than 5 stars is just totally not accepted. And that will help our show immensely. So that will be great. If you want to support us and get something back, then you can visit our merch store, get yourself some Crimepedia goodies, or you can join us on Patreon.
You can join us on Patreon, yeah.
Where you
Absolutely.
get some very fun stuff.
You do.
And we'll have a new Patreon episode coming very soon as well. We've got some fun stuff going on, forecast for Patreon as well. So look out for that if you're a Patreon listener. And thank you very much for joining us. As always, be nice.
And bye.